If you're a first-time business owner or entrepreneur, one of the most important make or break things you're going to want to pay attention to is your business budget. In this video, we're going to go over 5 steps that can help you better budget your business. I'm a business lawyer. I've seen plenty of businesses sink and plenty of businesses swim damn well, owing to how well they had budgeted for their expenses, including the unforeseen. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Pamela Metani. Like I mentioned, I'm a business lawyer and I'm also the founder of Graphene Business Law, a law firm helping business owners and entrepreneurs and serving them virtually throughout the province of Ontario, Canada. If you're new to our YouTube channel, you better give this video a thumbs up and click on the subscribe button down below. We post content multiple times a week on this channel, free educational content to help business owners and entrepreneurs such as yourself. As we mentioned in this video, we're going to talk about budgeting tools. Personally, as Pamela Metani, I'm somebody that loves the concept of a budget. I think there's a lot of connotations when it comes to Western society of a budget being negative, being limit focused, right? The max I can spend on something. Oh, I shouldn't cross this line. Oh, I shouldn't do that. Oh, I can't have that. That's not how I look at my budgets. I look at my budgets as financial guidelines that will propel me to further growth, that will propel me to higher net worth, that will propel me to a better financial situation and setting. And I suggest that you, if you're looking to budgets as a negative process, that you work on your perception of just how valuable a budget can be. As we mentioned, this is about how to run a business budget, okay? The first thing you're gonna wanna do, especially if you're a first-time business owner or entrepreneur, research industry standards. You're never gonna come across exact numbers, but turn to Google, research how much does the average business owner pay on rent? How much does the average business owner pay on staff? How much does the average business owner pay on the small, expenses? On this channel, and I'll link on the description video, we have a thorough video of like 10 to 20 costs, foreseeable and unforeseeable categories that a business owner should consider before going into business. And by the way, a sneaky little tip, if you are running into dead ends on Google, is join social media groups. For example, a Facebook group about entrepreneurs in your city, and ask in that group, hey guys, I'm thinking of starting a new business in this industry and I'd like to make a good budget for myself. How much is the average entrepreneur in hair care spending on phone bill every month? How much are you spending on internet? How much are you spending on insuring your business? And this way you're actually asking real life people and they respond because people like to talk about themselves and at some level they like to help as well. So that's a sneaky little tip if you're coming across too general or inapplicable budget for your cost category. Another reason that this tip could be a good idea is if you're in a center, for example, let's say you're in the state of New York, okay? And you are looking at information and a lot of it is New York City focused. Well, obviously your costs are going to be different if you are in Rochester or Syracuse, right, than Times Square. If you're in Ontario, for example, your costs that you're running into, chances are going to be very heavily pulled by the Toronto or Greater Toronto area market, because that's where most of us live, and that's just the nature of the fact that if that's where the population is, that's where a lot of data is going to be coming out of. But if you are in a tiny city just outside of Thunder Bay, Ontario, if you're in Uppsala or Ignis, well, the Toronto numbers aren't going to help you very much. So that is another huge benefit of joining the social media focus groups, because if not focused to your specific city, I mean, there's towns that are like 500 people, so maybe you won't have one there. They'll be at least focused to your region, southwest of the state, northwest of the state, etc., etc. The second thing you're going to want to do is open a spreadsheet, okay? If you're super old school, you can literally draw the squares on a piece of paper. If you have a computer that you can use and you have some sort of software capability, whether it be, funny thing is I have a Mac in front of me as you can see, but all my life I've used the Microsoft software. So I actually can't even tell you what the Mac version of an Excel spreadsheet is. I know Excel itself is Microsoft Excel, it's a Microsoft product, but open some sort of spreadsheet software where you can input data, do a few simple calculations, and save your data, okay? You don't just want like a one-time spreadsheet that you're accessing. And on that spreadsheet, jot down, make a column for expenses and make a column for average of those expenses that your research led you to. So for example, you know, the head is going to say expenses, the head is going to say, if you're in New York State or in Ontario, province of Canada, you're going to say New York averages, Ontario averages, whatever. And it'll be rent, you know, $10,000, staff, $5,000, whatever the case is. And then your third column eventually, as you start to tune more and more into your own business, is going to be your expenses, okay? And that factors us into, or takes us into step 3. Factor in some buffers, okay? A rule of thumb I like to use for my personal expenses and budgeting is a 10 to 15% buffer. We don't want a 50% buffer because then what's the point of having a budget? But you also don't want like a 2.5% buffer. That could literally be a sneeze, okay? You want something that will account for the unexpected within each cost category. Maybe the internet companies changed up their model and all of a sudden a $50 phone plan becomes $65. Okay, you're gonna want to have given yourself that buffer. You never wanna have a budget to the exact dollar. I mean, it's that saying, you prepare for the worst, but you hoping for a best case scenario, but you prepare for the worst. And that spirit feeds into a spreadsheet through the outlet of having those buffers. 10%, 15%, depending on your confidence in your research. Okay, number 4 is going to be, when it comes to budgeting, sharpen up your negotiation skills. If you are running a business, chances are that you're going to enter a realm where a lot of your purchases are now going to start to be, you know, seller and buyer and conversation, negotiation, contract based. If you're an individual, you go to the store, you pick out a shirt, you're going to pay what that tag says on it. But if you are entering into the clothing business as a business owner, for example, well, you're going to be able to get some discounts there, because whereas I bought, you know, one of these at the store, you're going to be able to maybe buy 500 of them, maybe 5,000 of them. And that, of course, gives you a lot of leverage when it comes to negotiating. I don't really like the videos that tell you what to do, but don't help you get there. So my tip to this tip is, how do you get better at negotiating? Obviously, it can be something as simple as looking at yourself in the mirror and speaking confidently and picking your confidence stance and practicing your voice and having your most confident voice. Those are the logistics of the presentation, of the visual, audio visual of the negotiations. However, what I also recommend, for example, there's a platform called Coursera. On Coursera, I know lately they've started to charge for some courses, but I think the majority of their offerings are still free. There are courses on Coursera ranging from Ivy League offerings, Harvard and Yale, all the way to very local institutions, very local state institutions. Research a course on negotiation. You don't have to do it the conventional one time a week kind of thing. You can pick a weekend day where you sit down as a business owner, and this 8-hour course that would have taken 8 weeks at an hour a week, you do it all in one day, okay? And listen to what a professional is saying when it comes to negotiation tactics. You can, of course, research on Google. You can watch YouTube videos such as you're watching this one. But if you think you really need the help, there are free courses out there. Reading books is something that you can do as well, but that's not my top preference, because there are so many people trying to sell a book that they wrote, you know, over a 5-hour workday. And I think it takes a lot to sift through what makes a good book. But if something is on an official platform like Coursera, that's a university professor putting out this offering, it has an inherent level of legitimacy to it. Not to say take it all without critically thinking, but I'm saying as a consumer and business owner and entrepreneur myself, I think that some platforms are a little better than others to help you buffer a skill, such as negotiation skills. And then you practice that skill. You practice that skill, and you can tell I'm really, packing it in here, because this to me is part of what makes me, a strong lawyer, for example, like that sense of being hyper practical. How do you practice negotiation after you've done all these courses? You don't start with the biggest order on your list. You start with a little tiny order, something that could maybe save you $50. Because if you lose that 50, you'll sleep at night. But if you start on an order for 5,000 shirts where the delta is thousands of dollars and you lose that, well, that could be a make or break for your business. So again, go over all these free resources, educate yourself, develop an understanding of the skill of negotiation, and then start practicing it small and then big, okay? And being a good negotiator is gonna damn well help you with your budget, because the better you negotiate, the more money you save. The fifth and final suggestion I'm gonna make is regularly review your financials. I myself review financials monthly. You would be shocked at the data that supports the idea that two people with the same exact actual financial attitudes and aptitudes and abilities, but how far better off one is going to be if they're regularly looking at their financials, and how much worse off the other is going to be if they're not. If you're not looking at your financials, you are not going to understand what hits you. You are not going to understand where your money is going. You're not going to understand every month businesses have emergency costs. And again, I'll link down the video that we've covered what many of those emergency costs could be. But it happens, and it happens all the time. But if you're not in tune with those costs, then you're just surviving. Picture yourself on a roller coaster and your body is just like, wafting back and forth. If you know what's going on, well, you're strapped onto that roller coaster, holding the bar and enjoying the view. And that's the difference, okay? And that way also, if you spot something negative in your financials, you can get to it right away. Looking at things at the end of the month, chances are you're gonna capture it before the bank's financial month, okay? And that way you're gonna get to be proactive right away, avoid interest payments, late payments, fees, penalties, all of that, and help your budget even more, and see what could be a learning opportunity, what's gone too far in one direction, but also what's working, right? Budgets, again, are not this horrific, scary thing where, we're all just like nervous as to what's gone wrong. They're a helpful, positive thing that I believe is meant, the concept is meant to catapult you to a healthier and healthier financial picture. What did you think? Was this video helpful for you? Would you like to hear more about these practical realities of running a business, costs, budgeting, all of that? Of course, there's so many categories when it comes to running a business, from your attitude and your perspective and marketing, advertising, picking a location, if you're virtual, picking an industry, picking, who to hire, all of that. Is this content helpful for you? If it is, let us know in the comments down below. And also, if you're a little bit of a budgeting wizard yourself, well, why don't you share with your fellow business owner and entrepreneur community, and let us know what's been working really well for you as well. Thank you for watching. If you are in the process of launching your business, and of course you should consult legal professionals when doing so, you can reach out to us anytime. If you're in the province of Ontario, GrapheneBusinessLaw.ca is our website, and info@GrapheneBusinessLaw.ca is our firm's welcome email. Thank you very much for watching this video.